Let's move straight on to our first talk by Steve Huin from Irdeto. He's going to be discussing what the industry perception of cheating, tampering, and perception is.
All right. Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. No? Should I be screaming more? All right. Good. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the perception of cheating and piracy, and that's based on us doing a survey a couple of months back. Before doing that, so just in terms of outline, the intent with that presentation is to give you, first of all, a view as to what is cheating and piracy, validating a little bit the view as to is this a real thing, talking about the concerns, and then diving into some of the details from there. So there's perhaps three things that you need to keep in mind when you're actually developing and publishing games. The first is cheating, right? It's about actually gaining an unfair advantage in the games, which typically spoils the experience for the players. We should distinguish cheating in a single-player game where you're basically cheating against yourself, and that's okay. It's all right to be unlocking things because it's too hard. Versus in a multiplayer environment where you're really creating a problem for all the other players. The second thing that you need to think about is tampering, and there's a lot of ways that is a problem. But typically that comes in the form of a crack or a mod. So think of, for example, in the mobile space, it might be your mobile game is monetized through in-app purchases and ads, and these are basically removed. And then there's a modded version of your app that's published online so that people can play your game without giving you any cent whatsoever. And that's obviously a big problem for you as a game developer. And piracy is typically seen as the act of leveraging that tampered version. So what we did in preparation to this event was analyze the top 50 games on the Google Play Store, specifically looking at roughly 60 basically cheating and cracking sites that there is, or the top ones. And what we discovered is the vast majority of the games that are in the top 50 are basically today cracked. And fascinatingly, it's not only older versions, even the newest versions of the games published are basically cracked. And it's possible to find a version out there where cheating is possible, where the in-app purchases can be accessed without any money being given. You can see also same thing, pirated versions. You can see that the memory editors are also available for some of the games, although a bit less in instances. What we see on mobile is typically people tend to mod the game and then publish the modded version, so that it's easy for the community to be able to access the game without any effort. Now, just to talk a little bit about the impact, what we also did was a survey. We surveyed about 10,000 people around the world to understand how people actually care about cheating in general. About 60% of them said that they actually had witnessed cheating in their game. And I think that is probably a low estimate in my opinion, because I think anybody that's gaming today must have seen or witnessed some level of cheating against them at this point. What is perhaps the more interesting and important data point is that the majority of people that have faced cheating are very clear on the fact that they don't want to continue playing that game at that point, and certainly will not want to pay to spend more money in the game. So cheating really impacts the business of game publishers, and that's really, really important to face it head on as a consequence. Is it, however, a misconception? I think there's perhaps a view that cheating is only something that happens on PC, and yes, there is a lot on PC, and if you start actually doing a bit of research, that's probably the games that are actively cheated on are probably most on PC, because that's the most open platform there is. But that's certainly not the exclusive platform. And if you start searching a bit more, then you realize even games like Pokemon Go is full of cheaters at this point, and that's on mobile, and it's also about, for example, cheating the location. There's even a game on mobile like Apex Legends that's been suffering quite a bit, or more recently, I guess, Diablo or PUBG Mobile. So I think the message is, it doesn't actually matter which platform it is, whether that's mobile or PC or even console in practice. If there is an advantage to be gained in cheating or hacking, then people will try. That's just the reality of the market. So what we did is we started actually asking basically the publishing community, what they saw as key concerns. And what you see is that when it comes to cheating, the vast majority of the people see that it's a reduction in engagement. Right? So people see cheating, then they'll be spending less time in the game. But people don't necessarily see the immediate impact in revenue, which is perhaps a problem, because engagement has a direct correlation to revenue in practice. Then we started engaging on trying to understand the level of awareness in the PC and mobile space for the game publishers as to if they understood and knew about the game protection technologies. What is fascinating to me is, if you look at the data, the PC basically publishers tend to understand and value protection. Again, perhaps because it's the most open platform and therefore the one that suffered for many years more. But the mobile community, the mobile development community, hasn't necessarily yet understood or recognized that there is a problem and that there needs to be solutions that need to be applied in practice. Specifically, if you go into the reasons why, you will see that the teams tend to not really be convinced that the problem is going to be solved, which is interesting. They suspect and think, and that again, that's a myth, that it's expensive, that there is no need for it, or that it's going to impact the performance. And perhaps the other one that's worth highlighting is that they actually think that the technology is really, really tricky to implement. Again, these are interesting because these are perceptions from the development community. Oop, let me go back. All right. In practice, in our case, so when we surveyed actually across the industry, so that wasn't specific to Lenovo, for example. What came out is that most people were actually super happy with the technologies that they employed across the board. So if you started applying some security technologies, you actually see the results. Is kind of the takeaway. The positives, including the ease of use, and it actually wasn't as expensive as perhaps they thought before looking at it, and it really helped with their revenue. And it created a much more loyal base of customers in practice. It seems I'm going super fast by there, so that's good. It's going to give us some time for discussion. That's the final thought, right? So what I did is I decided to put a case study out there. So that's Superplus is an indie developer based in Finland. In November last year, they decided to reach out and say, hey, we actually have cheating problems. Our games are being basically modded, and people can actually play it, either cheat or actually can find ways to not generate any revenue for us. So the game was called Hills, or is called Hills of Steel. They've applied the technology. It was so easy and so effective that since then they decided to apply it on every single game that they have out there. And that's kind of the point. The point is when you start actually looking at security technologies, what you realize is that the revenue tends to go up quite a lot as a consequence of actually blocking piracy and cheaters. And that's a really big value add for your business. And that was it, actually. It was really short. See, I'm helping actually gain time on this one. So if you have any questions, there's this email, but I think we still have actually some questions from there, right?
Yes. Well, I think given how
effective
it is, we've got a fireside chat coming up next. But it'd be great to, if anyone has any initial questions now, let's get to it. Otherwise, we'll go through our fireside chat, and you guys can pitch in as and when you wish. So, do we have any initial questions from the audience? No? In which case, let's go to it, yeah.